Hello and good day. This is another episode of Wealth Building Academy live stream with your host, Paul Lawrence Van. Hey, I'm glad to be with you and I hope that you're doing great today. And of course, we broadcast on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We primarily are advocating for people to become financially free. And why we're doing that is because these times call for this. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We found out through the pandemic that a lot of people just weren't ready. And they weren't ready even if the pandemic didn't approach our shores, but in fact it did. And so, what I'm going to be talking about today is going to be overcoming financial overwhelm. And I'm going to share some content with you that's going to help you to better understand where I'm coming from. And you can also post in the comments section. We'd love to receive any questions that you have or comments for that matter. And so now let's get started. One of the things that we'll look at in terms of people being able to overcome financial overwhelm is the fact that their jobs have been impacted. Everyone's job has been impacted. Many people aren't going back to work. They're just deciding, I don't really want to go through that anymore. And so what they're deciding to do is to stay home, and they're starting businesses, and they're also collaborating with other people. They're becoming consultants as well as contractors to find a better path so they won't have to experience what they experienced over the last 18 months. We can mutually agree that what happened in 2008 with the economy collapsing globally, that it impacted a lot of people. In fact, there was so much overwhelm that millionaires were standing in line to receive food. And this is just a sad case of what really has taken place in America, and that is that poverty rate continues to increase. We have a population of about over 330 million people, and about 10.5% of those people are in poverty. So that gives you an idea, and it's going to continue because we know that the moratorium for rent and for renting houses and apartments has been waived, that now people are going to have to move out of their complex, our apartment complex, and that throws even more anxiety before them. But here are some things that you can do and pass them on to your friends as well. But you can look at to identify what needs to be addressed. What needs the special attention at the time right now? Is it medical costs? Is it housing, having a roof over your head? Is it the rent and apartment and mortgages that you have to pay? You have to look at what's most present and try to address that issue. And there's a lot of help locally, statewide, as well as nationally to help position people to improve where they are now to looking at a better tomorrow. So we use that word of hope. And we have hope, but you have to reach out and get it. And then you want to try to stay positive. This is one of the keys to life success, is to stay positive. Yeah, we're going to get knocked down every now and then. And if we can look up, we can get up. And that comes from my friend and yours, Les Brown, one of the world's greatest speakers. And he's exactly right. In other words, if you're knocked down 8 times, you get up 7, then you're living your best life possible and never allow anything to be able to overtake you. And then you want to be very realistic. Look at where you are right now. Find out what can you do at this very moment to improve your condition, not only for you, but for your family. And I'm a major advocate for people becoming financially free. And it's one of the reasons why. It's because I grew up in abject poverty. So it's not something that I don't know. It's actually something I do know, and I know it personally. Well, people ask, well, exactly how poor were you? I said, well, my parents were both part of the working poor. And when we spelled the word poor, it was not Poor, rather it was Roop. We were that poor. And even though they both worked, the salaries that they made were not very sufficient because they had 10 children. And I learned from the school of hard knocks that we can overcome that too. And I overcame mine through education. And so let's talk about some more items to look at in regards to how one can overcome financial overwhelm. Well, again, you have to identify what you need to get done right now. Then you need to try to stay positive. But then also, we have to be realistic. just knowing that, well, I have X amount of assets to pay for X amount of debt. And I need to purchase daily. I need to have money to purchase food, groceries for myself or for my family, transportation to and from work if one decides to go to work. You have medical costs, medical expenses. And with COVID-19, one has to have an emergency fund just in case they are infected with the COVID-19 virus. And so we want to, of course, be realistic. And then we have to make the most of our income. And we make the most of our income by being realistic when you really get down to it. And because if you don't look at what you have and what you have before you, the debt, then you'll never be able to overcome it. And then the other thing to do, number 5, is to take small steps. In other words, don't try to fix major financial issues or overwhelm in one fell swoop, but rather tackle it step by step, little by little, and through determination, you'll be able to do it. I have 3 things that I share with people, and those 3 things are: if you want to become financial free, you have to have character. Character says everything about you. It defines who you are. And then you have to be disciplined. It takes discipline to really, really get those bills paid off and save money in that emergency fund. And then lastly, it takes patience. You have to be patient with yourself and don't beat yourself up about it, because a lot of people are going through the same experience. And because they are, it's very, very important to just take your time and gradually build a financial plan for yourself. And that will help as well. Now, here's some ways to be able to deal with financial anxiety. And one of them is to set goals and also plan ahead. By setting goals, we always position ourselves to achieve greater results. And so it's good to not only set goals, but to plan ahead. And then to build up that emergency fund that I talked about earlier, because we never know when a car will break down. We never know when an appliance in the house breaks down, or air conditioning, whatever, heating, whatever it may be. So we have to be able to position ourselves to address this. And then to look at keeping track of the bills and earnings. Really have to take a solid, rock solid look at exactly what we have before us. Get a copy, just get your bank statement, look at what your history has been, and then look at your bills that come in. Your utility bills are always going to come in if you have a house or apartment, depending on how the contract is set up with that apartment. And then you want to look at the food that you purchase, and then your health care, if you have a vehicle, that you have insurance for that, because we always have to have a rainy day fund set up for everything. And then shop very carefully. It is so easy to shop for something that we really don't want or we really don't need. It's probably more what we don't need. And a lot of people find themselves on that hamster wheel trying to get off of it because they purchased something that they really didn't need, and it counts against your funds. It counts against you being able to pay off your budget. And the overall goal is to become debt free anyway. And so it's very important for that. And then we need to understand what our credit score is. Without knowing what that credit score is, and if that credit score has a low rating, let's say if you're 400 or 500, you're going to pay a lot more in interest for credit cards, for getting a personal loan, whatever it may be. So you want to position, even insurance, you want to position yourself where you have the premium credit score. If you're looking at that 850 range, 800 to 850 range, or you're doing 750 on up, you're doing really good credit and excellent credit. And so you want to make sure you understand your credit scores. And then look for help, because help does exist in the communities. Locally, there are a lot of people, there are lawyers that will be willing to help you pro bono if you find yourself in a situation where you really can't pay all your bills back, and you can maybe set up a plan to pay back the monies that you owe. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And I also want to do is look at what financial anxiety looks like. And one cannot effectively manage their finances if they have this type of anxiety. And then, as I stated before, one is not ready for emergency that may come up. So we always want to be in a position that we can help ourselves, because if you can show that you can help yourself, then there are organizations and institutions in the community that can help you as well. And then one of the things you want to do is if you're having anxiety, you lack the confidence about the future. And we know that the future today is very dynamic, in that we have to really be paying attention. You and I have to really be paying attention, because things are changing overnight. There are bills and laws that are passed that sometimes the Supreme Court take up, and then sometimes they don't take it up. And when we look at the financial aspects of it, it's even more at play. So we have to really pay attention. We're paying taxes, the personal property taxes on a house you may own or a building you may own will likely increase every year. I just received my personal property bill, and I'm telling you, it was staggering. I almost fainted. So we have to pay attention to all of these things. And then when you have that anxiety, you can't enjoy living in the moment. In other words, you're just stressed out, you can't sleep, your health is getting bad, and we all need to be in a healthy framework when we're living our lives each day. And so it's very important that we do this. And now let's look at other ways that we can deal with financial anxiety. We can set those goals and plan ahead, as I mentioned that before. And when we do this, it really positions us to do great things. And so it's very important that we're able to go out and live our best life possible. And one of the things that I definitely wanted to talk to you about is the fact that I have a online course, and the title of this online course is Learn Money Mindset Strategies. And this particular course is a 7-week course, and I have a bonus of an 8th week where I take a student from A to Z, from understanding money mindset to understanding exactly how they can start becoming debt free, generate wealth, and then legacy wealth. So it's really an A to Z online course that is doing very well. And I'm also developing another course to go with that. But I'll also have a 6-month money coaching program. And in this course, I take students on a deeper dive in terms of understanding not only how to become debt free, but also how to generate wealth and legacy wealth. And I show them exactly what I do in terms of positioning myself to have no debts and investing money. Instead of leaving it in the bank in a savings account, I take that money and I put it into a investment instrument, and then I allow myself to invest in whatever real estate, stocks, bonds, whatever it may be, and just be able to generate wealth and get a really making money on the side to help. So each month I'll have money coming in, even though I don't have to make any more money. So that's another way of approaching the process. But this is primarily what I wanted to cover with you all today. And I'll be broadcasting again on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll have another wonderful topic in which you will be able to learn. And I want you to encourage your family, your friends, as well as your colleagues, and have them to come in and listen. But one of the keys, again, is that you want to be able to save money. And then once you save a pretty nice amount of money, $10,000, $15,000, then you don't let that money sit in the bank, but rather you take that money and invest it. And that way you'll be able to allow your money to grow. And money wants you to make it grow. It really does. You know, money is made out of a tree, and so that's vegetation. And likewise, when you help the money to make money using it, it grows. And that's what money wants us to do. It wants us to make it grow. So I don't have anything else that I have to share now, other than to say that a lot of people are trying to overcome financial overwhelm. And this particular live stream helps them in that process. Again, I'm the host, Paul Lawrence Van. I'll see you on the next episode of Wealth Academy, Wealth Building Academy live stream. Have a great day, everyone.